For the better part of the season, the Houston Texans have been disappointing on offense. For the past 6 weeks, they've had an absolute inability to get things going in the second half. But offensive coordinator Bobby Slowik feels like things are going to be okay. The Texans are going to be just fine. He actually thinks they're better than they were last year in a lot of offensive situations, and there's a solution for the second half troubles. But to me, it sounded like a guy who's grasping at straws at the podium. Maybe there aren't as many answers in the building for the offensive ineptitude for the Texans as it appears. Let's start with Slowik saying that this year's offense is better than last year's offense. The offensive coordinator was quick to defend where they are this year as a team.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive our offense is better right now. Like, I think outside of some abnormal second half situations, like everyone talks about all the bad, like we do some incredibly special things for really half to 3/4 of the game. I mean, we're like fourth in points in the first half, and I don't even think we're good in the red zone in the first half. So there's a whole lot out there still. Like, we do some really good stuff.
So there's a couple of things about the Texans that are better. In fact, they're a much better running team than they were a year ago, especially in the Joe Mixon games. And their points per game are slightly better, but there's a lot of things that are way worse about the Houston Texans. They're way worse at red zone touchdown conversions. They're worse on third down. They're worse in their passing offense. And they have a good defense that gets them into some great situations, and they can't take advantage of it. They put a lot of points on the board via field goal, not via touchdown, like it feels like they were doing last year. And this is not nearly as good of an offense as it needs to be. And you think about if you're about as close as you were last year, but you have more difficult competition, it leads to a disappointing season offensively up to this point for this Texans team. And that's where they are. They've got some incredible stuff in the first half. Bobby Slowik is right about that. They are the fourth best team in first half scoring in all of football. That's really good. They're also one of the teams that have the biggest discrepancy between their second half scoring, which is also down from last year. They are 22 slots worse in second half scoring rank from their fourth spot in first half scoring rank. They're 26th in second half scoring. And for more than most of the season, they have had issues scoring in the second half on offense. In the past 6 weeks, the defense has more second half touchdowns than the Houston Texans do on offense. 2 touchdowns from the defense, 1 from the offense, and that was at the end of the Dallas game where they really just hammered Joe Mixon against a tired Cowboys team that knew they weren't going anywhere in that game. And even before these 6 weeks where they've shown ineptitude in the second half, the Buffalo Bills forced them to kick a couple of field goals before they upset the Bills in that matchup. And that was a hurt Bills team as well. Not nearly the Bills team that's playing super well right now that the Texans beat earlier on in this season. A quick moment here for my friends at Prize Picks. Best, easiest way to play daily fantasy. Play your first $5, get $50 on Prize Picks. Use my code STOOTS, STOOTS, when you sign up. The link in the description will get you signed up. It takes no time. Make your first deposit. Play your first $5, and you're going to get $50. Use my code STOOTS, STOOTS. And if you want to play your first 5, I'm going to put together a Prize Picks lineup later in the video, so check that out. Check out my friends at Prize Picks and the link in the description down below. So for more than half of the season, more than half of the games that the Texans have played, the second half ineptitude has been present. So if they could just take what they did in the first half and slop it into the second half, they'd be fine. They'd be actually one of the best offenses in all of football if they could do that, but they haven't been able to do that. And I don't know why there'd be any massive amount of belief that they can do that, because they haven't showcased a bunch of the things that they do in the first half in the second half. So that's probably my biggest gripe with this Texans team after it never looks easy and they don't operate the way they should with a bad offensive line, is that stuff that does work almost never gets replicated later on in the game. I think about some of the impressive Joe Mixon performances. Those were shoehorned into a quarter and a half of action. I think back to the Jets game. They couldn't get anything going on the ground in the second half with Joe Mixon. So even when he gets going on the ground, they can't replicate it in other parts of the game. A lot of times, to me, that means that the opposing defense is adjusting to the Houston Texans. They've made some changes. And when you see such an incredible first half and such a bad second half, you have to imagine there's some adjustments being made. But when I asked Bobby Slowik, has he seen a bunch of adjustments from opponents from the first half to the second half that has allowed their offense to sputter and kept them from getting going on offense? Is it the opponents? Slowik didn't think so.
I wish I did. Like I really wish I did. I mean, it's more, we've been talking about this for the whole season. I feel like at this point we've tried all kinds of different things. We will continue trying a lot of different approaches in a lot of different areas until something fits. But at the end of the day, what happened in the second half was we had an immense amount of penalties. We were bad on third down and we couldn't run the ball. And it doesn't matter if you play second half, first half. You play at noon or you play at 7 p.m. like that, that's going to be bad football. And that's really what it is when you go back and you look at it. Every second half hasn't been bad. The ones that have been bad, we played bad football. And they've been doing really what we expect them to do. And that where I think early on kind of led to frustration that I'm sure everybody felt from just us as an offense. And now it's really like we're into December football mode. And we know what we've been doing in practice. We know what we've been doing in the meeting rooms. We know where we feel like we're going and how close we are at any given moment. I mean, how close we were to even just winning that game if you take a penalty away.
Be it penalties, interceptions, or just the other team playing better defense, the Texans have been bad in most of their second halves. I know Slowik said it hasn't all been bad. It's mostly been bad, though. And if they feel like they're close, I just don't know that you would want to believe them that they feel like they're close. And Bobby Slowik was asked again, hey, why do you believe that you are close to getting things going there in the second half? And I didn't love his answer because I haven't seen it.
The tape. I mean, just when you watch the film, you could see how close. Just like the first half when we make plays, the second half we haven't been making plays. I know our quarterback's history is that he's an extremely, extremely efficient and good 2-minute quarterback, and that's not going to go anywhere. And I mean, how close we are really, really throughout the season on a lot of these plays in the second half is we're right there. And you don't just change because all of a sudden he blows a whistle at halftime and we go in the locker room for 2 minutes and come out and now we're completely different people. Like we believe in the process, and the process here is very sound, and our players believe in the process. And like I said, like we can see it. It's been different the last 3-4 weeks, and eventually it's just the nature of sports that's going to manifest itself on the field.
Look, acted like they're really close in a couple of spots on offense. And yeah, they might have beaten the Titans if one of those issues had been flipped in the second half and they'd have got past the 2-win at the time Tennessee Titans. But this is a long-standing issue for this Texans team. This is an issue that is weeks long, and they're not one play away from beating the Detroit Lions. They're not one play away from beating the Green Bay Packers. And it begs the question that if you are one play away, if you're that close for 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, are you ever going to get there? And Bobby Slowik says, hey, what we've done in the second halves, it shows just how close we are. They've had drives that don't even last 30 seconds. They've had drives where they don't get multiple first downs. They've had a lot of 3 and outs. Like, they've gone long stretches where they couldn't move the football, get into the red zone and score even with their special teams units. Like, there are so many negatives from this Texans team in the second half that I don't know why you would believe Bobby Slowik when he says, hey, we're really close. And again, you've been close for that long. You're not going to get there more than likely. You don't possess something to get over that hump and get past close and get to where they want to be as a defense. Maybe it's the talent, maybe it's the head coach, maybe it's a combination of everything. It's opposing teams adjusting at halftime and you not adjusting, which I still believe is one of the big reasons. But the Texans haven't shown any ability to get past close That may be where they are stuck there in the second half. And if they go into Jacksonville, have an impressive first half, and have another bad second half, D'Amico Ryans has to have a long look in the mirror before the bye week and maybe make a change with the way that they operate their offense. Maybe that's getting rid of Bobby Slowik. Maybe that's some massive changes to how they operate, but they're not getting it done to the level that they need to get it done on offense. And post bye week, they've got a 4-week sprint, a likely playoff game at home because they're still likely to win the AFC South championship. And they've got to figure out how to play much better offense, replicate things within games. And I don't even know that you need to copy the first half and put it into the second half. If they could just get half of their usual first half performances in the second half, they'd be beating a lot of teams. They'd have a really impressive record right now. They haven't been able to do that. And if they don't showcase some sort of positive movement against the Jacksonville Jaguars, they may need to go in a different direction with this offense because it will go beyond the scheme. It may go beyond the scheme with the players aren't good enough. Well, you can't swap out 30 some odd players on offense in the middle of a season. You can swap out the guy with the headset and the way that they operate. And so Jacksonville going to be a big one for Bobby Slowik and company. What say you? You believe they're close on offense in the second half, or you skeptical like I am? Let me know in the comment section down below on your way down there. Throw me a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's put together that prize picks pick'em together that I talked about earlier in the video and see if we can put together a winner for this weekend. All right, let's build a winner over here in Prize Picks. It's so easy to put things together. You see all the different sports that they have available to you. I primarily stick with the NFL. You hit this little calendar, and you can put all those turkey games together on the same entry. So you've got just those games to pick from because we did it in the little calendar. And look, let's start with the Lions, high-powered offense, the Bears, not so good. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery as both scoring. It happens more than you would think for a team that has two really good running backs. So I'm putting both of those guys to score more than half a touchdown, so get in the end zone, either rushing or receiving from both of them. Let's put something in there from the middle of the day. Let's get into some of the Cowboys action. CeeDee Lamb and Malik Nabers. I mean, Malik Nabers was complaining about not getting the ball. You got Drew Lock in there. Lock's been known to dial some up. Put Drew Lock with taking care of Malik Nabers for more than 67.5 receiving yards. And I don't know that there's another guy that can move the ball for the Cowboys besides CeeDee Lamb. Let's put more there. And you can put a lot together when it comes to Prize Picks. You've got the Turkey Day discount for Tyreek Hill if you haven't already used it. I already used mine already. Let's put one of these Dolphins players in here as well. We saw that Tyreek. I mean, Jalen Waddle kind of feels like he got going a little bit. Get more from Jalen Waddle. And I do believe that Josh Jacobs is going to get into the end zone as well. So we put all of that together. It's a flex play, so we don't have to hit all the pieces to win this. $5 wins you 65 if you hit all of them. You got to hit 4 out of 6 to win something. Feel pretty good about our Prize Picks entry, don't you? We'll put it in there. Submit lineup. It is that easy to put it together with Prize Picks. Hope you're right along. And if you're catching this after some of the games started, get something from every game for you in this matchup as well. So Prize Picks, the best, easiest way to play daily fantasy. Play your first 5. Get $50 when you use the code STOOTS, STOOTS, when you get signed up. Appreciate you watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. I can't wait until we talk Texans again soon, and have a happy Thanksgiving with you and yours.